Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. Let's talk boxing. Really entertaining press conference between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. Before we get into analysing that, let me just also give a shout out to Ultra Tech. He had me on his channel tonight on his live. I appreciate you having me appear on your channel, Ultra. It was good to talk to you, bro, and thanks for having me on. Let's get to this topic now, the actual press conference and how it went. I thought it was so fascinating. It was very entertaining. I thought Tyson Fury was on form. A lot of people felt that Tyson Fury was just doing what he typically does, you know, just rehashing dosser and middleweight and you're a sausage and all of that. Yeah, there were those catchphrases in there. But this was actually a different approach from Tyson Fury. You know, whenever he's been aggressive with Usyk in the past, he's been aggressive via recordings, not face-to-face. When they've been face-to-face, it's actually been quite a jovial atmosphere. You know, he'd call him a silly sausage, Gabby tooth rabbit and all of that. And Alexander Usyk would respond by mocking his weight and calling him greedy belly. Also, linking in the negotiation aspects of what was going on there. And they were quite aggressive with each other over the phone. When they'd meet up, Tyson Fury would actually be playful, tickling Usyk, talking to his mates, whereas Usyk has always been quite stoic throughout. And a lot of people are saying, oh, Tyson Fury cannot possibly get to Alexander Usyk. I agree, he can't rattle him. This is a very, very emotionally and mentally strong man who has been at the highest level throughout his life when it comes to the fight game, from amateur and pro. But perhaps the key to success here when it comes to psychological warfare is not to rattle him. It's not to intimidate a guy that cannot be intimidated. What it might be is to just get him angry. You see, Fury might be looking at this and thinking, if I can just get him to hold his feet a little bit longer than he should, rather than him constantly moving and me having to chase him and overreach and fall over my front foot, let me get him to hold his feet in the pocket just that little split second longer, to throw one more punch than he would normally throw while planting his feet to try and punish me. Well, then that might enable me to use my mass, to fall into him, to break his construct, to land something big. Now, is that working? Is he getting to Alexander Usyk? There was one little moment where Usyk seemed to get wound up. Then he reined himself in. So I don't think it's working. No, not at this stage anyway. But I found it fascinating that Fury tried to be so aggressive. And you could see the rage on his face. And there were some people, again, on the timeline who were saying, Fury's back on the gear again. Listen, we've spoken about Tyson Fury's mental health. And I know a lot of people out there feel that it's a grift. But regardless of where you stand on that, go and check out the video I did called Professor Sapolsky and the Psychology of Tyson Fury. The fact of the matter is this guy had depressive episodes from early in his career, way before the comeback where people started to talk about his mental health. Even when he was a prospect, it was a known thing that he has bipolar disorder. And bipolar has some facets to it. One of them is that there are some serious depressive episodes where people get into really dark spots, and the other is that you're bouncing off the walls. You feel invincible. You've got all this excess energy. You're really, really hyperactive. You partake in high risk taking actions that sometimes can get people into trouble. It can cause accidents. It can cost them their lives because they feel like they're invincible. And typically when someone's having a manic episode, they actually act the way Tyson Fury is acting now. So to me, it's nothing too out of character in terms of his general demeanour and lifestyle, but it's out of character in the way he's been dealing with Alexander Usyk. And I think that's where I find the fascinating aspect of it. There were some funny moments in there too. You know, he wasn't just a guy who was on the edge and, nervous or anything like that. There was one moment where Frank Warren had said that he'd just been voted the sexiest sportsman alive in a recent poll. He beat Cristiano Ronaldo, who was at number 2, and Tommy Fury, who was at number 13. And Tyson Fury wanted to thank everybody that made that dream come true and possible. And he wanted to tell everybody that if you're fat and bold, you're likely to get laid. And he wanted to give a shout out to his ugly bastard brother Tommy, who's only ranked at number 13. That had me dying. So he was on form tonight at points. He also conceded that Alexander Usyk's not small. He's not just a middleweight, even though later on he sort of reverted to middleweight again. But he was actually saying he's an average size heavyweight, about 6'3". He weighs what he weighs. Typically speaking, historically, he's an average size middleweight. And it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. However, he goes on to say that when you've got a big fighter who's also got that equivalent fight of a dog inside him, well then, you're fucked. And it was a very good delivery in terms of his comedic timing, but again, it's just trying to plant seeds of doubt in Alexander Usyk. You've never been in the ring with anyone like me. Later on, when they got to the face-off, he tried to lean on Usyk, who had been stoic throughout, saying that Tyson Fury's not bothering him. Usyk offered some resistance. You could see he's clenching and sort of pushing forward as well. And that was interesting to me. Is Tyson Fury just trying to feel what kind of strength has this guy got? How can he cope with my weight? Is Alexander Usyk letting him know I'm strong enough to hold you off? Would Tyson Fury have looked at that and thought, oh, he's stronger than I thought? Would he have looked at it and thought, oh, he's straining a little bit here to push me off? All these little things are tactical in my opinion. Trying to get under his skin by getting him angry, making him hold his feet too long. Let me just see how strong he is if I lean on him. Let me see how he reacts if I insult him on X, on Y. How's he going to react if I'm aggressive face to face compared to when I'm nice face to face? He's probing. And from a psychological perspective, you have to understand this is a sport whereby guys are trying to overcome each other mentally, physically, emotionally. And so when I'm seeing a lot of the comments as well about, oh, Tyson Fury, the mental health advocate, you can't get sarcastic about that. Not wanting a man to commit suicide, and when he's feeling depressed or anxious, you're being encouraged to reach out to the relevant professionals that can help you, has nothing to do with two elite level fighters where one's trying to gain an edge over the other. What do you want him to do? Make him a cup of tea and make sure he feels good about himself? Come on, guys. Be realistic about what it is that you expect from these fighters. So I found that interesting. The other 2 points that I found interesting is also Frank Warren, once again in front of Team Usyk, saying, the last time we signed for this fight, it was you that pulled out and there was no challenge. Why was there no challenge? I'll leave that to you guys to think about. That aside, the other thing that I found interesting is that after the press conference, Fabio Woodley was in an interview and he was being asked about his experiences because he sparred both guys. And he said that it was actually harder to hit Tyson Fury than it was Alexander Usyk. He's great at controlling distance. Just when you're about to reach in to land a shot, he'll pop you with something and force you to reset. And he's saying, I'm constantly finding myself trying to chase him around the ring, cutting the ring off. It was so difficult. But he also said that he'd actually been hit harder by Alexander Usyk than Tyson Fury. And he wanted to clarify that by saying, look, I have sparred with Usyk on a lot more occasions. In other words, there was more of an opportunity for Usyk to land something big on me. But then doesn't the same logic suggest that if that's the case, if that's the logic you're going to use, you've also got more of an opportunity to figure out Alexander Usyk and how to land on him easier than Tyson Fury, who you may have sparred on more limited occasions. So you can start to pull that apart in any which way you want. The fact of the matter is, what he said in the most basic analytical way is that it was harder to get to Fury, but I'd been hurt more by Alexander Usyk. And I found that to be fascinating too. Let me know what you think, guys, about that press conference. Did you learn anything? Did it make you take anything new into account? Don't forget to hit a stiff jab on the like button, a right cross on the subscribe button, and an uppercut on the notifications button. Thanks for watching. Chat to you soon. Take care. God bless.